Hello Twitch world, it's Matt from Team MMX here. I'm starting our live stream tonight and we're going to bring you a tournament recap and a brief review of the UK Games Expo that was in Birmingham this weekend. And I popped down on Sunday with another member of MMX, Shane, and hopefully show you what I got and maybe have a little talk about that. But tonight I'm going to be joined by Mark and James, who are two members of MMX, who went to a tournament on Sunday as well, a 4-game 1250-point tournament. We're going to go for a review of their games at that, how they enjoyed their day, what the venue was like, and most importantly, what they had for lunch. Before we get onto that though, just going to go say briefly over here, there's our Twitter, Facebook and Instagram links. If you follow us on Twitter and retweet our pinned post, there's a chance to win an Armageddon Night. If you follow us on Twitch as well, once we get 50 Twitch followers, we'll throw in another Armageddon Night, which are going to be quite popular with the new codex coming out, and they are quite good. And maybe we'll find some more prizes to put in the meantime, but let's switch over to the three of us now and get straight into this. So, up on my right, oh, on my left here, it's right on the screen, is James, who's MMX Team Ace, second best in Europe last year, and hoping to beat that this year. On the on my right shoulder, on the left of the screen, we have Mark, MMX, one of the MMX team painters, and all-round 40k enthusiast. So, you want to say hello, guys, briefly?
Hello, Twitch. How are we doing? Can you actually hear me this time?
I think everyone can hear us this time, I'm hoping.
Hello, Twitch.
Certainly be a better attempt than last time if they can. Yep. Okay. So, yeah, let's go into this. MMX is going to be coming at you hopefully once or twice or 3 times a week. We're going to have little Skype hangouts where we discuss things, maybe we do some painting and you can come on the chat and talk to us. We're going to try and get a battle report on once a week, starting from within the next few weeks once we've got sorted out. And basically, any feedback you've got, bring it to us, and we'll see where we can improve and what more we can add to you. We're going to do tournament reviews, maybe new product reviews. And as me and James got tickets to the LVO today, maybe start a little Road to the LVO series and see where we go for that. Road to Vegas 2019. Looking forward to that.
If you've ever wanted to watch me pick 10 different armies and flip-flop between which one I'm going to take and paint all of them, it's definitely a thing that's going to happen, so we should get on board with that. My
LVO build-up is going to be, well, how many, I don't know how many weeks it is, but it's going to be nothing until the last 4 weeks, and then it's going to be pick a meta army, build it, borrow it, convince people to paint it, and then worry about packing it in a suitcase at the last minute, most likely. And
yeah, I'm looking forward to that, Matt.
Yeah. team bonding. It's what we're
the standard Team MMX approach, where everyone else writes an army list and paints it over time, and then we all paint Matt's list 2 weeks before the event.
That's how it works. It's a tried and tested method, and has worked. It worked at the London GT, which we may come back in a future session and do our in-depth review of that.
We'll circle back to the London GT. It's a bit of a hot topic at the moment.
Yeah, everyone else is covering it. We'll do our own spin on it. I think that's good. Maybe get some guests on for that. You were there, Mark. Me and James were, and we had some.
I was not.
Other friends there with us, so that was cool. But what brings you guys on tonight is a review of the event you went to on Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to go ahead, Mark?
Yeah, sure. It was 1,250-point tournament, 4 games down in Lincoln at Imps. A lot of fun. Played on 4x4 boards. Me and James both took a couple of softish lists. Just to see how we could do with them. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I think we found out about it on the Friday night, and it was on the Sunday morning, so it was a bit of a last minute one, and we just went for a bit of fun, bit of a laugh. We were playing straight out the book Eternal War as well, so not the most competitive mission setup, slightly odd depending what you get paired up with. So we sort of went a bit bizarre. I know Mark's written a list for an event that we've got this weekend, which is intentionally soft lads, which he basically just scaled down his list slightly. So his list was super soft. I am convinced Gene Steel Cult the worst army in the game, so I tried to go to an event with Gene Steel Cult and do well. Do you want to run us through how your games went, Mark? And we'll come back to mine in a bit.
So overall in the tournament, I got 3 wins, 1 loss. My loss was in the first round. Played against Deathwatch. He had a Leviathan. which was very nasty against my all-marine power armor list, all using rather large squads. You had 2 of the Graf Flux Bombards, which get better the bigger your unit is. So obviously taking 3 squads of 10 Chaos Space Marines, I was just getting minced by that thing. Best thing about Deathwatch as well is that you can deep strike Leviathan Dreadnought. So it did not start on the board. So yeah, that was a very tough matchup. Really enjoyed the game. My opponent was called Greg. I played him in our last RTT down at Hull in the last round.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was good to see him again. Give him another game. So yeah, that game went on. I was leading through most of it, to be fair to me, and then Deathwatch Primaris just ripped me apart.
So what? Yeah. You've mentioned your list had a lot of Bolter Chaos Marines.
Yes.
What was your list? What was your list?
Right, I've got it here. It's my beloved word bearers that I've had for a couple of years now. Absolutely love them to death. So I took, it was the basis of the list is you were only allowed to run 1 battalion. So that was the same for everyone. Yep. So in my battalion, I took a Chaos Lord with a Power Fist and a Power Sword, given the Mark of Khorne. 2 Exalted Champions, both with Power Mauls. I gave one of them the Wordbearer's Power Maul Relic, which is insane on an Exalted Champion, to be totally honest. It's brilliant. I then took 3 squads of 10 Chaos Space Marines each, all just armed with bolters, sergeants with power swords and plasma pistols. They all had the mark of Slanesh. Then I took a Hellbrute with a multi-melter, which I very rarely use, and that is for a good reason, because you can get a Contemptor for roughly the same points, and they're considerably better. I then took what are my MVPs for the tournament, a 6-man possessed unit with Mark of Khorne. They were absolutely phenomenal. They killed a lot of characters, to be totally honest. I gave them the job of character hunting. Then a unit that surprised me in how useful they actually were, 5 Raptors. Bolt pistols, a combi flamer in there, and a power axe, again with a Mark of Khorne. And then my favourite squad in any list that I tend to run, a Havoc Marine squad with 4 autocannons and the Mark of Slanesh.
Worst weapon in the game.
I was stunned. I think it killed a Rhino in game 2.
For the people who don't know, me and Mark have a healthy respect for autocannons. James does not approve of autocannons until Knight's got autocannons, and now he's a bit in love with them.
Yeah.
It's slightly different. The Knight's autocannons are damage 3 and 2d3 shots. A regular autocannon is 20 points to make a Marine about 0.2 more wounds. It's fairly useless. You might as well just take another bolter.
Well, James, we'll have to agree to disagree on that one. But, moving on. That was my.
What was your game?
That was my first round.
Okay, so James.
My round 1.
Yeah, let's go through your army first, and then hop on to round 1.
So what I ran, I took a battalion of pure Genestealer Occult, so I took a Patriarch with Mass Hypnosis.
Okay.
Because Genestealer Occult, you turn off the Overwatch, it's just the way to do it. I also took a Primus and Acolyte Icon Ward. I painted the Icon Ward the night before, pretty interested in he gives out 3 different buffs, and he gave out none of them because he hid behind a wall the entire tournament. Because that was the correct way to play him. I had 4 units of Neophyte Hybrids, which to those not initiated in Genestealer Occult is 4 units of Guardsmen. 2 of them had mortars, 1 had a las cannon, 1 had an autocannon. Then I had 2 units of 15 Genestealers, which is, if we're honest, about half the points of the list and the entire point of the list. And a unit of 5 Aberrants, 4 of them had Power Hammers, and 1 of them had a Power Pick because someone has to get shot first. And 1 Goliath Rock Grinder because it's cool. Who doesn't blow over with a big saw truck? Basic plan was to fill the Goliath Rock Grinder with Aberrants and the Patriarch, ambush all the Genestealers in the Patriarch, and hide the Guardsmen behind walls and hope they didn't die. So game 1, I drew a bloke who, to his own admission, had been drinking the night before, was perhaps a little tired, a little not brilliantly set up for the tournament. And he brought a list that he said was chosen because he was feeling lazy and it was easy to play. So what he brought was 2 Lamb Raiders, 1 a Crusader, 1 whatever the pattern with the last cannons is. Godhammer?
Yes. Yeah, Godhammer. It is Godhammer.
Yeah. He filled them up with Dark Angels.
James is not a Marine fan.
No, I'm pretty sure power armor doesn't actually exist, and it's just a myth other people are perpetuating. But he'd filled them up with Space Marines, and he got first turn and drove 12 inches towards me, killed half a dozen guardsmen or so, and then I call ambushed and was a horrible person. And I surrounded both Land Raiders so they couldn't move, shoot, no one could get out, and he could only try and hit me in combat. And at that point, the game was basically over because I held all the objectives and he couldn't do anything. I did, through some lucky dice, manage to table him turn 2 by killing both the Land Raiders so that everyone inside died when the vehicles died. But realistically, that game could have gone 7 turns and the outcome is exactly the same. It was not the best I've ever felt about a game, if I'm honest. It was somewhat brutal, and it's certainly a mistake he's never going to make again. It was just a misunderstanding, I think, of quite how fast my army was and quite what I could do with it. Yeah. But so I got max points for my first round.
That's good. So Mark's on 1 loss, and you're on 1 win.
Yes.
When was lunch? Was lunch after game 1 or lunch after game 2?
Lunch was after game 2.
Lunch after game 2, 4-game day.
Yeah, makes sense. It makes sense.
We were playing a 90-minute round, so it was a reasonably fast-paced.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if it's a short 4 games, you're playing shorter rounds, or you do a very long game. But if it's smaller points, you've got a nice break in the midpoint. So, so Mark, game 2, did you turn it around?
I did. Game 2 was a pretty good win for me. I think I won it 12-4 in the end. It was the mission where characters gain the OBSEC rule and they get progressively better on objectives. I can't remember. Is it Ascension, that one?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So I was playing a Space Wolf player. He had a big unit of Wolven, a couple of units of Longfangs, a Las Cannon Predator, and then I think just some guys in Rhinos and a couple of characters. And we found out on a 4x4 table, 40 Marines screened themselves pretty effectively. He put 2 units on the hunt and found out that there wasn't really enough room to place them after turn 2 very effectively. Basically what I did is I crawled up the board with a horde of 30 Marines and essentially just trapped them in combat for the entire game. Best part of that game, however, had to be my 6-man unit of Possessed hiding in a church waiting for the next turn. Great bit of symbolism there. They then popped out and butchered a Wolf Lord with a Storm Shield. And like I said, the game before, they'd killed a Librarian. They then took a Warlord after that, so they were on a character-killing frenzy. After that, it was just a case of putting characters onto objectives. I had his entire army on lockdown, essentially. So, it was well played, and I had a lot of fun. But, that was essentially how the game went.
1-1 to Mark.
Yes.
Ooh. Playing the submarine.
Yeah.
How many people were in the event?
About 30.
About 30. Oh, so you can't win with a submarine, but you can podium with a submarine if you do well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I believe third place did go 3-1.
Ah.
Yes.
So my round 2, I got a Blood Angels player. Yep. He had a Sicarian.
Okay. The fourth.
Yeah, the Forge all the autocannons toy. Yep. Rubbish tank, autocannons, terrible weapons. He had 2 Predators, 2 Razorbacks, Assault Cannon and Las and a Storm Talon, which I could basically fire las guns at for the game, so that was interesting. Then a big Death Company blob, Lamarties, Captain Smash, and Tunes Scouts and a Tactical Squad. He got first turn, and I'd essentially just deployed the guard, and the Rock Grinder was behind a wall. Yeah. So he fired, he killed 3 or 4 guardsmen, but really didn't have any line of sight to anything fun. On my turn, I ambushed on him, engaged the Sicarian, engaged the Razorback, hostage the Tactical Squad so they couldn't fall back, put all 3 characters onto objectives and hostage the Scout Squad, and charged a Scout Squad with the Patriarch, the Aberrant, and a Rock Grinder. So I ate the Scout Squad, ate the Tactical Squad, put a load of damage on the Sicarian, and then had a unit of guardsmen have an absolute pillow fight with a unit of scouts for about 3 turns. End result of the game was I ambushed. He dropped in with the Death Company bomb to kill the Steelers. I ambushed again and took out the Death Company bomb. Captain Smash killed the Patriarch, but then got lasgunned to death because that's how you kill Storm Shield characters. And my beloved Primus Steve stood behind a wall for 4 turns and scored me 10 points because it was Ascension, and his points went up by 1 for every turn he stood an object. So the game ended 16-10 to me. I think my opponent had 1 Razorback that was hostage by a unit of Steelers, and his Storm Talon flying around the board. I had pretty much all my guard left, big unit of Genius Steelers left, and Steve.
So 2-0.
2-0, yeah. Max scored round 1, and then I think about 5 points off of max score in round 2.
Doing quite well.
That was table 1, and I stayed table 1 for round 3.
Okay, so before we get to round 3, so you guys know, like you, James, you normally take a Tyranid list with some Gene Stealer cult allies. And you know, small faction. You play quite competitively, so this is not a typical tournament list for you to check anyone 2-0. So
no,
so far.
This
1250s are weird.
Significantly than I play.
Mark, you are working on a nasty Drukhari list.
I am a very, very unique Drukhari list.
Your Death Watch army has disappeared before the Codex came out, which is good because there wasn't many Primaris in it.
Yeah.
But currently playing your Chaos, but not conventional Chaos. You're not running the Cultist Blobs. You're not running a lot of the stuff that we're seeing. You're not running Magnus. You're not seeing the Thousand Suns bits of it.
Yeah, I've recently started running them as Alpha Legion just because it's probably the best Legion trait. But typically I'm running 3 Quad Heavy Bolters and a Sorcerer to cast Prescience on them, and that's basically the strength of my list so far. Occasional Leviathan in there, depending.
No worries. Yeah, that's good. So you've run a couple of contemptors, so it's quite interesting.
Oh, yeah.
It's quite different.
Mark's list clearly shows his heresy days before 40k.
Yeah, before his mature nature kicked in. So, 2 games in, dinner time. What's for dinner?
Well, I'll go first, James. I'd brought my pack lunch with me, so I had brought sensible. 2 bread cakes with some ham inside. Oh, which was very nice.
Ham sandwich.
It filled me right.
Someone might say. Some people make
a ham sandwich. Yeah.
Ham sandwich.
I spent lunch moving my car because there was a lorry driver determined to drive down a dead-end street on the industrial estate where we were, round a corner that I was parked on. So that was quite exciting. We did quite a lot of musical cars with basically everyone at the event having to move for the lorry driver who was in fact in the wrong lane and had to reverse back out anyway.
Did we mention where Imps is?
Not this time around.
No, not on this attempt at recording this. So we're based in Hull. Imps is probably about an hour away.
Yeah, about an hour 15.
Yeah, the other side of Humber Bridge.
They're on an industrial estate in Lincoln. It's a very, very nice venue. They've got a little store on the front and then like a warehouse on the back, which is where all their tables are. A lot of space, very nice scenery in there. And painting up some more boards as well. I think they do quite a lot of AOS as well, so you get that sort of thing. It's a nice setup, but the minor issue with the venue is that if you are parking down there, it can get a little tight when you've got 30 people down there because they've got parking spaces for maybe 6 outside. Yeah. And every so often you're going to get something like a massive articulated lorry that decides it wants to deliver to somebody, and you've all parked down the street he wants to go down, so everyone has to move.
One feature that I do like about Imps is the big shutter door that they've got on there. So when you do have 30 people in that room, they open up the big shutter door and it gets lovely and drafty in there.
Maybe we could do it with one of them at the Olympic Stadium in London.
Yeah, I can imagine.
In the future. So, that covered. Game 3.
Yep.
James, you're on the top table. Mark's mid-table mediocrity. But staging a strong comeback at this point.
Obscurity, Mark, I believe, is the book.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah. So those 2 sandwiches filled me right up. I was raring to go in the next game. I was fired up. I drew a Demonettes list, which is quite a good matchup for a bolter heavy list. A lot of toughness 3 with 5 up invulns. So yeah, it went quickly that game. By turn 2, my opponent had conceded. He'd decided that there wasn't really a way back for him, which was a bit of a shame. He probably still could have made something of the game. I think he'd got in his own head at that point and decided that was the game for him. We were playing resupply drop, so it was all end of game scoring. He still had a couple of obsec units left, but I'd more or less got him trapped again. I'd got him trapped where I'm like, 40 Marines on a 4x4 tends to keep things locked where I need them to be. So yeah, that was a common running theme in a lot of my games. So yeah, there isn't really a lot to report on that one, unfortunately.
Did you find most of the lists you played were, like you guys said, you took pretty fun lists? Did you find most of the lists you played were like that, or was there a decent mix of each?
I was surprised in my first round to see a Leviathan with 2 Grabflux Bombards, if I'm being totally honest. A couple of the lists out there were quite good for the points limit, but a lot of them were, I think a lot of people had the same idea of, I'm just going to see what I can do.
I think me and Mark have very different interactions with the lists in that Mark lost his opening game and then fought his way back up the leaderboard.
Yeah.
And I jumped straight to the top and fought the filth. So, yeah, Death Company Bomb and my game 3 and game 4 were both Tau Sept, Tau armies with Super Overwatch, which is a horrendous match for me. Tau Sept, Gunline Castle, and Death Company Blob are both things that I did fight Death Company Blob at London, and I faced Tau Sept castles before at Majors. They are things you see at Majors. I think my round 4 opponent was lighter. My round 3 opponent was running a list that was just 750 points shy of something you'd see on the top 10 in London.
Yeah.
It was brutal. So my round...
what I was going to say is we're talking 1250 points, but normally we're playing... Locally, we played 2K ITC Champions missions. Recently, been practicing for Warhammer Fest, so that was out of the book chapter approved. London, which had its own missions, and the next big event for us is Cali Element, so that's their own missions again. But typically, around the club, when we're not practicing for an event, we'll be playing ITC.
Yeah. Big fan of the ITC. So yeah, my round 3, I got about 60, 70 Fire Warriors, Riptide, Long Strike, 1 Hammerhead in that list, a Fireblade, the Pulse Accelerator drones, the drones that reduce your charge range. It was basically the worst nightmare of a Gene Steel Cult ambush list. Because he slows me down, he can overwatch with everybody when I charge him. He's got stuff that can fall back and shoot me anyway. In Long Strike, he can even great good me with the tank. It's not a great matchup. And then to compound that, we're playing endgame scoring, so I can't even use my board presence to get a massive score, then just try and hide from being tabled. So I went into it knowing I have to pull some shenanigans. And essentially, you've heard me talk about hostaging people before. This game was a horror movie in Tau hostages. I got first turn, and my Gene Stealers never left combat from turn 1 through to turn 5, including his turns. I literally pile in and consolidated the entire length of his line, killing 70 Fire Warriors along the way. And around turn 4, one of the Gene Stealers had to actually make a charge. And there was a small amount of controversy, which it was genuine. I think it was a genuine mistake on my opponent's part. But we declared to play with intent, as is a standard thing you do at tournaments. And we pre-measured in the movement phase and agreed that certain units weren't in greater good range. So I could essentially charge and take 5 Fire Warriors shooting me.
Yeah, you don't get all the extra from the big units.
Yeah, ignore all the toys.
Yeah.
So I deployed in such a way that they had line of sight to me.
Mm-hmm.
Then when the charge phase comes around, don't know if the table had been knocked or anything. I genuinely think my opponent just slipped his mind that we'd agreed it earlier. It wasn't a big problem. But all of a sudden, Long Strike and the Riptide both have Overwatch on the Gene Stealer unit, which was had that been the case, I'd have obviously deployed them behind a wall, taken an extra inch on my charge range,
and not taking any losses,
and not taking any of the Overwatch.
Yeah.
So my opponent took the Overwatch and slaughtered the Gene Stealers, which made the game quite painful. He apologised for it, and we basically did a deal where, because we had agreed it was very poor sporting on his behalf to say, "Oh no, I can actually Overwatch you," when he shouldn't have been able to. Yeah, so in return, we agreed that at the end of the game, the Steelers would still count as being there, and he'd give me the line breaker point.
Okay, so it's kind of like
yeah. So obviously it changes the face of the game a little bit, but it's one of them where, like I said, it's a fun-friendly tournament, so you don't want to be getting judges involved, you don't want to be having arguments. So we just talked it out and sorted it out sensibly.
It wasn't a ranked event, so.
No, it's friendly. It's one of them where it was a little bit awkward for a couple of minutes, and then we just sort of had an honest conversation about it. Agreed that it was not ideal. Both of us thought it wasn't how we wanted the game to go.
Yeah.
And the end result was I took First Blood and the Linebreaker and one objective. He took Warlord, Linebreaker, and another objective, and it was a 5-all draw.
So 3-0
played out.
3-0 with Gene Stealer call.
Not 3-0.
Oh, sorry. 2-1. Sorry, you lost.
2 wins and a draw.
Oh.
A draw.
Oh, that game. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Being an idiot. It's because I wrote down 3-0 and then just.
I do have to say as well, because I've just said, it was a bit of a unsporting move by my opponent, but I've got to say as well, my opponent was absolute gent the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely believe it was a slip up on his behalf.
Yeah,
he didn't do anything.
Sometimes things just happen, and
it's not we're not trying to say anyone was trying to pull anything fast or dirty or anything. It was just I genuinely think he forgot that we'd agreed it, and then the tables get bumped, that sort of thing. When we pre-measured in the first place, it was half an inch. So,
yeah. I mean, credit to
spun or something.
Yeah, credit to him as well, because I mean, he didn't have to give you the line breaker point either, and he did.
He didn't at all.
It genuinely shows that it was definitely a mistake.
Yeah, it was done for a fun and friendly event. You don't want to get judges involved. You don't want to cause problems with this sort of thing. So I think we resolved it as amicably as we could have for what was a slightly awkward situation, because it was massively game changing. Without the Overwatch, the Steelers probably kill those Fire Warrior and wrap up the rest of his army, and that's probably a massive win to me as opposed to the other way. But I think it was done as fairly as could have been.
Mm-hmm.
And credit to my opponent for being a gent about it after
the
initial issue. Absolutely.
So, going into round 4, Mark on 2-1. You on 2 and a draw. Now, it's because it's fairly players, you're not gonna win from that. But depending on how game 4 goes, you've good chance of getting a result. It
was technically possible for me to take the win. Essentially, the top 3 decided itself at that stage. There was one chap on 3-0, and me and the Tau player just played on 2-1.
Okay.
And we had a chat between the rounds. There was about a 10-minute break between the 3 of us, and worked out what it could have been. And if the chap on 3-0 is called Simon, if he'd have lost his game by less than 5 points, and I'd max scored my last game, I can leapfrog him. Any result of a draw and a win to me goes to me. And then the Tau player has to win big to not get overtaken by me, because I was ahead of him.
Yeah.
So it was possible, but it required some slightly janky results.
The odds are ever against you. The odds are not in your favour on that. So it's out of your... No. You can win, but it's out of your control as to whether you do.
Yeah.
Okay. Mark, you're not expecting to podium at this point.
I didn't expect podium going in, so the results I got were already a surprise.
And favouring already cannons is not going to go well. But however, how did game 4 go?
Right, so going into game 4, me and James had gone down to this tournament with 2 other guys from our local club, Gary and Paul, both great guys, and they'd given me the same opponent round 1 that they had round 4. So I said to him, is there any way I can swap out so I get to play someone else? My opponent was happy with that as well. Yeah. So I got drawn Gary, who we'd gone down with. And Gary's a very good player. He's local commission painter, so his army was beautiful. And he was playing Poxwalkers with 3 Blight Haulers, is it? That unit? Typhus. Go on, James.
We'll give Gary a cheap plug, since we're here. Gary is our local commission painter. His company's The Warforge, if you want to look him up on Facebook.
Yeah, he did my...
Beautiful model. Really
he's
nice
done my
stuff.
Star Wars Legion army, and he did my Nalmors. My old... Pre-nerf, my Nalmor Warlord. Yep, it was
Gary.
It was
Good
me
Gary.
who took that to Warhammer World and got that banned, guys. I'm sorry for that. Didn't ban the Warlord Spore, though, did they, James?
Didn't ban Cecil the Warlords.
No.
Warlord lives. Long live Cecil.
Slipped straight
So
under the
if any of you at home are wondering who the guy was who actually took a Nalmor as his warlord, you're looking at him below me.
Didn't help me do that well.
On the other hand, I took a Spore Lord to One World Heat 3 and to London GT, and did reasonably well with it.
Didn't you take it to the final as well, or did you not take it to Warhammer 1?
No, the final I was running a Chronos Neurothrope, so I could do the Soul Hunger Psychic trick, and didn't fight a single Psyker. That's always the way as soon as you take Psychic Defense. Gary's also painted, while we're talking about it, he painted both of my Aramans, because I've got the 30k version and the 40k version.
That's good.
There may be some Thousand Suns appearing in the near future.
Yeah, I'm worried about your Thousand Suns army.
God, I love that Thousand Suns.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I've had to play it a couple of times. So going on to this game, so you had Typhus as well, Demon Prince, something like, I want to say 30 Poxwalkers. Oh no, it'd be more than that. I think you had about
60 Poxwalkers, mate.
60 Poxwalkers. It's just I killed them all, James. It's fine. Yeah, 60 Poxwalkers, Typhus, and one of the special Death Guard Psychers, I think, as well.
Malignant Plague.
That one. So going into this, I'd never actually played anyone with Poxwalkers before, so I didn't really know what to expect. I knew the Death Guard trick essentially was they're difficult to get off objectives. There's a lot of psychic powers that you can buff them with. They come back when they kill stuff.
He can't buff you anymore, so he can't go over his unit strength, but he can still come back, and they're a pain in the ass to get rid of.
So it's worth noting that Gary's Poxwalkers as well are also converted out of the Warhammer Fantasy Battle Zombie kits as well. So they look absolutely phenomenal. It was great playing it. Because I'm a big fan of my own army as well, if I'm being totally honest. So it was nice to see this game unfold. Going into the first turn, I had no idea just how good the Blight Haulers were at everything.
So Blight Haulers being the small, rapid moving missile launcher multi-mower.
Tricycles.
Yep, I got 3 of them.
The way I deployed, I had a lot of my elite stuff on the left-hand side of the board, and just my horde of Marines once again covering the right-hand side. And the Possessed weren't a massive fan of the Blight Haulers, it has to be said. I was worried about them shooting me, so I sacrificed the Possessed. I was like, off you go, Possessed, go charge the Blight Haulers. Those things tore them apart. Bless them, they'd taken the heads of a few characters and just got absolutely minced. Gary obviously moving his stuff forward. He got the first turn, so he got a couple of shots off, but I don't think he'd got first blood in the first turn.
Okay, that's pretty big.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't manage to get either because his army's incredibly tough.
Yep.
So I was struggling to kill units of Poxwalkers because half of them were out of line of sight because of this huge terrain feature that was on the right-hand side. The other half, he'd cast the power that gives them +1 strength and toughness. So my bolters were wounding him on 5s. He got closer. I then had my turn. I think I lost the Hellbrute in my own turn. He whiffed his Meltagun attack on the Blight Haulers. I was like, screw it. I'll just send the Hellbrute in as well. It got minced by the Blight Haulers in combat as well. So I was like, all right, this game's looking pretty dire for me at the minute. I had a Demon Prince coming in on my left flank because he'd followed up the Blight Haulers as well. So I was like, you know what, Gary, I'm just going to ram myself down your throat. And I don't think a lot of people would have done that to a 60 Poxwalkers. But yeah, I managed to trap a horde of Poxwalkers in the center of the board and keep them off my objective. My autocannons took a Demon Prince because he charged it into a squad, killed too much of the squad, I then took them out of combat, so the Demon Prince was just stood in my half of the board on his own turn. So he got bolted, Cursed Crozius, the word-bearer-specific Crozius, Plasma Pistoled, and Auto-Cannoned. I just managed to get rid of him. Typhus earlier on in the game had an unfortunate Perils of the War, in which Gary rolled a double 1, command pointed it, and still managed to roll a double 1. So he'd already taken 2 wounds before he got to me. My 3 characters then ganged up on him towards the end of the game, whilst 3 brave word bearers in combat with Poxwalkers and him decided to shoot him a couple of times with bolt pistols, and I believe that's what finished him off. So yeah, it came down to the last turn of the game, really. Gary had first blood, I'd managed to pick up Warlord. I managed to get into his deployment zone with my 3 characters and a few Marines to get onto his objective in the last turn, and that essentially won me the game, but that is by far one of the best games of 40k I've ever had with anyone. It was a lot of fun, and Gary's a great guy, and obviously, like I said, his army looked absolutely stunning.
I think his nickname in our chat is Good Guy Gary.
He'll
go out of his way to help you, and he's a really nice opponent as well.
Yeah,
he's always got a gorgeous army.
Like,
he puts so much effort into commission work for people. He puts so much work into his own army. It's just a pleasure to play him. I think he won best painted at our last event.
Yeah, he got best painted the last event that we had. And I played him in a warm-up for Warmfest and had a fantastic game with him again. It's just, he's just lovely, and he's also a very decent player while he's doing it.
Yeah.
It's very nice to play him, and he occasionally kicks hell out of you, so...
Yeah. I did have, there was an instance where there was one Poxwalker that I couldn't kill, and I think he was the thing that was stopping me consolidating back into unit coherency. So I had a unit of Marines that physically just couldn't do anything throughout the majority of the game. I had 3 Marines attacking a unit of 20 Poxwalkers for the majority of 3 turns, I think, which was not an ideal scenario, but yeah, that's how it ended up.
So you finished 3-1.
3-1 and 6th overall, which I was pretty happy with.
I wasn't going to get to results yet, but 6th overall is good. Yeah, secret weapon possessed. And
yeah, they're going in every list now.
3-1, it's good. Who knew?
Mark's weird, statistically improbable army.
At 1250 points, stuff gets changed up.
Yeah, it does make a difference. Stuff that a few hot dice make a big change in a game that size. It's my round 4, I basically played round 3 again.
Okay.
We got end game scoring. I fought a Tau Sept that was a big gunline castle.
Yeah. Less
Fire Warriors this time. This time I had triple Hammerhead. One of them was Long Strike, and a big unit of broadsides. Maxed out unit of broadsides. And again, we were doing endgame scoring. This time it was a frontline assault, which is objectives get worth more the further away they are from you. So 4 in your opponent's, 2 in the middle, and 1 in yours. And I didn't get first turn, but this board had a big line sight blocking piece of scenery in the middle of the board. So he opened fire and didn't really have anything to shoot. So I basically came through turn 1 unscathed. Because again,
there's always a benefit against any Tau army.
Yeah, it was one of them as well where even with no scenery, at the start of all my games, I was basically deploying 4 units of guard and some characters. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really care if I lost first turn and got shot up, because the whole point of my army is the Teens of Steelers and the Aberrants and the Patriarch, who, if I felt like I was going to get shot up, I just put them all in reserve. So I went into ambush. The unit Steelers with the Patriarch super ambushed again, got the big ambush again, which is on the 3d6 reroll was pretty likely you're going to hit the 5 and 6. So I came in and went and stood next to a bunch of Fire Warriors and the broadsides. The other unit Steelers rolled a 4, so it came in 9 inches away, and they promptly whiffed their charge. And as they had done in 3 of the 4 games this tournament, they whiffed their charge and died horribly. Because if you don't get in immediately, the unit of Steelers, they just explode. It's just, no one leaves a unit of Steelers 9 inches away from their army. Just not a thing that happens. The Rock Grinder came up and hid behind a wall with the Patriarch and all the Aberrants in. The Steelers went in and we continue the Tau hostage, I'd say the Tau hostage negotiation. It wasn't much of a negotiation. I basically grabbed the Tau and wouldn't let go again with Gene Stealers. I got into the broadsides, unit Pathfinders, and a unit of Fire Warriors, killed the Fire Warriors, hostage the Pathfinders, and killed all the shield drones, and I think one broadside that turn. Throughout the course of the game, I basically just continually hostage broadsides, finish off the broadsides, forced his army to come out of its deployment zone, because otherwise I was going to start tagging them with the Gene Stealers. So he walked forward, which walked straight next to the building that the Aberrants and the Patriarch were hiding in, who came leaping out and smacked the crap out of a bunch of hammerheads. And the end result of it all was he was basically forced into a sandwich between the Gene Stealers and the Aberrants and Patriarch, which isn't somewhere you need to be as Tau. I was mostly in buildings when I wasn't in combat, so it was very hard to see me or fire at me. Particularly because he took a bit of an odd choice on his armor list. He went burst cannon instead of smart missile system on his hammerheads. I presume they're cheaper. I'm not sure on the points on it.
It's not what you want to go with, the smart missile system.
No. The first Tau player I played had smart missiles everywhere he could, and it really caused me problems because I couldn't hide from him. The second player, I spent a lot of my time hiding behind walls, and it went very well for me because he couldn't really get away from the building. I wasn't fast enough, and I just kept leaving Overwatch without causing big problems. The game ended turn 5. He had a 1 wound hammerhead left on the board. I had all the objectives. I'd taken first Bloodline Breaker, Warlord. So, as we discussed earlier, for me to get anything out of the tournament, I had to max points my last game to catch the top 2. And I did. So their game is very relevant to the final score.
3-1-0. So how did their game go?
Their game went with the 3-0 chap, winning it. He took it in the end. It wasn't high scoring, but he did take the win, which meant that my score became irrelevant because he's on 4-0, the other player's on 2-1-1, so my 3-1-0 is better.
Yeah.
So I immediately take a. So end result: Simon went 4-0 and took first place. I went 3-1-0 and took second, and a 3-1 with a big tiebreaker point came third.
That's good.
Really good. My credit with the Gene Steel Cult as well. On the tiebreaker points, although they didn't come up, I did just have an obnoxious amount of tiebreaker points because I pretty much max scored 3 of my 4 rounds. So I think the max possible was about 90, and I had something like 83, which was just disgusting. But that's Gene Steel Cult. They win big or they lose big. You either get in and smack people around or you don't.
And you did.
It was, every single game I got at least one Gene Stealer squad in, and once they were in, jump all over everyone. Just climbing around units, keep everyone locked.
You've got them down. I mean, you've been playing that small Gene Stealer Cult edition in your NID list.
Yeah,
it's going to be terrifying.
What I'd call my proper list plays a sort of NIG gun line with Gene Stealers as a threat and a distraction. And there's a Gene Stealer Cult unit in there just to mess with people, get in their lines, annoy the hell out of gun lines, stop things shooting. I don't want shooting. So the Gene Stealer Cult ambush and hostage thing is something I'm pretty practiced at. I've probably played 100 plus games at this stage.
Yep, I'm just gonna quit 40k and go back to X-Wing, play 2.0 when your when Gene Stealer Cult Codex comes out. It doesn't matter that Orcs are going to be before that, Knights are before that. Like, I'm already running Custodes. Just no, Gene Stealer Cult Codex comes out. Your army gets better. I'm gonna retire. Go back to X-Wing.
Yeah. The Gene Stealer Cult Codex, if it's as good as the other codex coming out, I don't think I'm ever playing another army. It's just I love them. Fluff-wise, I think they're my favourite army in the game. And I love the way they play.
Which, I mean, to put it into context, I've played the Thousand Suns list that James is intending on running, and it's horrific. So to hear James say that doesn't bode well for anyone at any tournament, I think.
It's worrying. It's worrying.
There's a future. The problem with both lists is they require me to paint another 100 or so models for each list, and I really don't want to paint 100 Gene Stealers or 100 Zangors. So I think it's the measure of productivity is, I think, a different podcast called it, where the game only goes as far as people are willing to actually buy, build, and paint it.
Yeah.
Which I think is what's stopping me with the 1,000 Suns, because I don't want to do that. It's a lot of money and a lot of my time painting goddamn gold.
Yeah, I think if we had to pick a key word for this tournament, it would definitely be the word hostage. Yeah, it seemed to be our go-to tactic for the majority of the day.
Yeah, it was remarkable as well, and it's become a bit more famous since Nick Navarre started covering it on the Brand Magic blog. But it's remarkable how many people still haven't seen it and still don't. The combat phase seems to be something that people aren't really paying that much attention to, particularly the shooty players who, like Tau players. But both my opponents today did sort of have an idea of what it did, but they weren't quite aware of how crazy powerful it is when it works. And it's something that I think in a Tactica at some point we might get some models out and show people how it works properly and how you can abuse it to work, because there's some real power in there. I mean, it's the reason that my subpar army went 3-1-0. If I'd have just charged people, killed them, and stood there, I'd have lost every game.
I don't know what's going to happen when you get a Codex. It's worrying.
We're going to have a good time.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to have a good time.
This is why I'm building armies that physically cannot get hostaged.
Yeah, Mark plays me probably every week, and I think I'm actively affecting his army building at this stage.
Yeah. Well, it's such in tournaments, it's such a huge thing that you've got to look out for in people, learning what it does and how effective it can be. I mean, I very rarely do it with my Chaos Space Marines, but on a 4x4 it completely changed the way I played. So I've never had an army that has board control, but 40 Marines over a 4x4 table has just that. So yeah, it's such a huge part of the game now, I think.
At 1250 points as well, 40 Marines is quite awkward to remove. It's a lot of bodies to get rid of. If you haven't got something that blends Marines, then if you're trying to do that with bolters and stuff, it's a real problem.
Yeah. And if there's possessed running at you as well, you won't want to be that guy. So yeah, that's basically our tournament in a nutshell. I think everyone really enjoyed themselves and everyone seemed to have a great time. And obviously, with tournaments, it's just great to hang out with like-minded people.
Yeah.
I especially didn't expect the tournament to be a 30-man event, so it was great meeting all those different people.
It's weird to have that size event with that smaller format. So it's not a popular. Yeah. Well, it's not you don't see a lot of 1250. But
it shows people's desire to play the game. I think a tournament like that.
Do you think there was more people playing because it was there was a painting requirement, or was it unpainted?
There was a painting requirement, but I think there was probably I saw maybe 3 or 4 armies that weren't painted.
Okay,
I don't know if you saw any more.
Maybe I don't know whether it the smaller requirement put less people off because people have more stuff painted.
It was the way Imps put it out there was that it was meant to be a fun and friendly event for people who maybe didn't play a lot of tournaments. And maybe people who were looking to get into it, sort of an intro type event. So I think there were a lot of people there who maybe hadn't played a lot, or certainly hadn't played a lot of competitive play, who wanted to turn up and play other people who hadn't played a lot of competitive play. Like I say, I've got a skewed version of the tournament because I played my first opponent's obviously random. Then I played table 1, table 1, table 2. Yep. So obviously I was playing the more experienced players.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Paul, who we went with, stuck around mid-table for most of the event. He finished 10th, I believe.
Yeah.
Mark obviously started at the bottom and climbed back up, so he went through. And I think Gary was somewhere around there as well. So I don't know if you've got more of a perspective of sort of what the middle of the pack have was in terms of that. That's
Yeah,
where you see the majority of the players, isn't it?
Yeah, my journey was a bit weird in that obviously we know Greg because we've come across him before, and he is genuinely quite into the tournament scene. So I had someone who was a fairly competitive player to start with, and then I had someone who wasn't. This might have been his first tournament. I can't remember if he said or not, but he was learning the gear. He wasn't totally inexperienced, like he knew what he was doing, but. Yeah, he wasn't used to all the tricks that I was pulling, so I used it as an opportunity to sort of show him these things. And then my next opponent, he did mention the ITC. He seemed to know a lot about it, so I'm assuming he was somewhat into the competitive scene. And then Gary, obviously, we know him, so we know he's a very decent player.
Yeah. Gary's not. He doesn't play as regularly as he'd like to. I don't think we're gonna try and get him down to some more of our events as well, because in Hull we probably run an event every couple of months, ranging from little 10-man events at the local store up to we just did a 30-man RTT, and we've got our GT coming up.
Yeah, I was going to plug that at the end. So get to that.
Shameless plug for the whole GT.
Yeah.
We'll come to that at the end. We'll come back. But yeah, Gary, obviously, he's in the ITC every year. He's got some scores in there. He doesn't max out his 5, but he's been around ITC events that he's played some of the higher up players. He's played in the competitive circuit. He's a good player in his own right. So, yeah.
Sounds good. So, that's it for your tournament report. So, let's just go into a brief intermission for a minute, and then we'll come back and go through my recap of the expo. You guys can ask me any questions you see, so I'll just go into an intermission for 1 second. Hello, world of Twitch. We are back from our short break, and we're now moving on to the second part of the show, which will be my review of the UK Games Expo 2018. Now, the last time I went to the UK Games Expo, it was at the Birmingham NEC. I went mainly for the X-Wing System Open that was that year, but now it's changed to the FFG European Championships for X-Wing and all the FFG games. Didn't go last year. I was busy the weekend, so this year wasn't doing the X-Wing. I've kind of dropped out of a bit till 2.0 comes out, so it's mainly just for a look around the expo. Really enjoyed it in the past when I went, but didn't quite have enough time to do everything I wanted to do. So booked a ticket. I'm sorry, I didn't even book a ticket. I just kind of organised it last thing and decided to go down on Saturday morning. Now it's in Birmingham, in the UK, which is about a 2.5-hour drive from Hull. So the plan initially was to set off. I think doors opened at 9:30, so the plan was to set off about 7 o'clock. Because obviously there's going to be some queuing and traffic when you're there, but it was to try and get the most of the full day. We did get set off late for one reason or another, and somebody not waking up. But we did get down there. Hi, John. John Ricey, I can imagine that's John.
Hi, John.
Did get down there in fairly good time still. Parking wasn't too bad. NEC, is paying for it, but it was me and Shane who went, who's another of MMX who's not been on Twitch yet. Got parked, went in, there was a bit of a queue to get a ticket, but after that you were straight into the thing. And one thing I didn't realise this year was previously what they do is they use a hall of the NEC for all the traders, and previously all the tournaments were in the Hilton, which is at the NEC. This year it was 2 halls of the NEC, and also on the same day there was a Comic-Con. Now, if I knew this, I probably would have made it a bigger weekend, because I mean that's awesome. There was just so many people in costume. There was so much about, as it happens, we didn't even have time to check out any of the Comic-Con, which is a testament to how much there was at the expo. Now, I didn't realise it was going to be 2 halls. I mean, it was all on the net before, and I just didn't, I booked it last minute. I didn't really look into it. Basically, 1.5 halls were traders, demos, and exhibitors, and half of it was the European Championships, which is fine. I know a lot of X-Wing players went and caught up with some of them, spent a bit of time chatting to friends. The rest of it was purely just going around the exhibition, and there was everything. Now, there was a few core games we wanted to check out, stuff I backed on Kickstarter, which I'll get into, stuff I pre-ordered, which is, stuff that's going to come out in the next year, and that really wanted to get my eyes on, my hands on, stuff that I spent money on. But other than that, there was so many different manufacturers there, so many, not just game producers, but tabletop manufacturers that I've never even heard of. Games like Parabellum, that was like a fantasy game, some really nice models. They got some really nice boards, like Siege board setups and things like that. Just beautiful models and really, really nice painting. So the first thing we did was have a good scout round the entire outside of the Hall 1. See if anything caught our fancy straight away, just see what we could pick out and maybe make a note off to check out later. Went to all the X-Wing guys. Went to the Bring and Buy. That's always a good thing. The big queue for that. I think if you know what board games you want, or you're in a board game group and you have a budget, you go there with money, and there's people just with 10 board games in their hands. Like, I think they'd either picked up stuff they needed for like a good price, or just went, yeah, that looks good, that looks interesting, that's 20 quid, let's try that. The queue was around the Bring and Buy. There was a queue to get in, which took us about half an hour to queue to get into the Bring and Buy, and I think the queue to buy stuff was probably longer. It was that popular. And
Matt does love a Bring and Buy.
I love Bring and Buy. I normally love selling stuff, but I didn't even take anything to sell. It's just madness. I know the last time I went 2 years ago, I got the World of Warcraft board game, which is huge. It's like this big, just stacked full of stuff. And I think I got it for 25 or 30 quid, and it's normally about £100 on eBay. And that was back then. I don't know what it's like now, but that was a really good bargain. But no, so the games we wanted to check out were Fallout by Modiphius. So I've backed that for about just short of £400.
Yeah.
I'm a massive Fallout fan. Mark is a Fallout fan.
Yeah.
James doesn't know about Fallout.
I've never played it before, but I'm excited because I hear
He's learning.
mutants, and
Yep.
I can probably make a robot and some mutant people. So
Yep. So
wave
one is
they might be gene stealers.
it's all based on Fallout 4 at the moment, but they're bringing out they've previewed some stuff which is based on earlier games. So wave one is super mutants, Brotherhood of Steel, and like the people. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's the
Humans.
Yeah, but there's a word. It's just like survivors. It's the Minutemen and the like the main character of the game and the companions. So I've backed for all of that. I love Fallout so much. So we got a chance to play that, which was basically Shane taking apart super mutants, which is there we go, perfect timing on the chat there.
Yeah.
So basically, Shane is buying into super mutants for Fallout. I'm probably going to go Brotherhood of Steel because I love the power armor. So Shane playing super mutants and a Hound versus me playing the sole survivor in power armor, Dogmeat, and a couple of survivors. It was great. Like his mission.
I understand that dog meat's not particularly bad either.
Dogmeat was amazing.
From what I hear.
Basically, the mission, the small demo mission they did was we were fighting with the Red Rocket, which is iconic to anyone who's played Fallout 4.
Yes.
I know one.
I had to hack some terminals, which is basically like a skill check. So all of your characters have special stats. So you've got strength, agility, endurance, intelligence, charisma, and only certain ones can do it. But you make a check against that to hack, which is brilliant. So I had to do that and hack these different terminals. Whereas Shane's objective as the super mutants was to find these two objectives and shut the power out. Like, normally a game would be like, oh, here's an objective, this is what you do. But the fact it was based around a skill was quite nice. It seemed a bit overcomplicated with the combat at first, but it was a case of adding dice and subtracting different coloured dice that all did different things. But once we got playing, it was fairly intuitive. So really looking forward to that. The models are nice, and the paint jobs they have on them there.
I think there's a few coming through MMX painting studios. So
yeah, I think you're going to take my super mutants off me.
It's as Matt's talking about it. I don't know a lot about Fallout, but I'm thoroughly looking forward to it because I assume I'm going to end up painting it through for it. And,
this is why I buy stuff.
Play with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that I think down the line we're probably going to cover on stream. We'll probably do some live stream.
Yeah,
I imagine.
definitely.
And you'll all get to witness the joy that is Matt beating me at things. I imagine I'm going to be terrible at this.
Yeah, you want all stuff does.
Can I take Hive Guard?
You cannot take Hive Guard or Gene Stealer Cult. Milex, you may enjoy Milex when they release Milex, but I don't think they'll be a playable faction. So maybe me and Mark can play, and you can control the AI creatures of the wasteland or the robots.
The thing that I hope that they really get round to is doing a point lookout style board, because it's all about the deep south, that sort of DLC. So there's a lot of weird hillbilly mutant type thing.
The real question will be Fallout 76. With Fallout 76 coming out, Fallout 76 being announced and previewed at E3. There you go, Shane saying they're doing a Milex Queen and regular Milex. Milex, James, are effectively human-sized mutated lobster people things.
Yes.
Like crawfish. Think of crawfish. Yeah. And they cut you up good. They're good.
Bad. You're gonna wish I didn't cut you so bad, bro.
So maybe with Fallout 76 coming out, they'll rapid, fast track some stuff based on that, and that'll grow.
That's all I need.
There you go. So
you have me a lot.
Fallout, awesome. Cannot wait for that. Still a month or two out. As soon as that comes in, I'll do an unboxing. Get it on as soon as we get a table set up. Just get some stream games on that, even if it's just us going through the basics. I'm sure loads of people will be covering it, but why can't we? Second game, I really want to check out X-Wing 2.0. I'm a big X-Wing fan. I've kind of lost my love for it at the moment. I'm just not feeling it. I've been feeling 40k a lot the last year. That's why I've been playing games with you guys. Really want to check that out in a demo, but it was really busy over the weekend. And this is one of the things. It'd be nice to do 2 days at the expo, because you kind of feel like if you want to demo stuff, you miss out on other things because of the time it takes. I did speak to some of the X-Wing players who had demoed it, and they said while it does have its changes, the stuff in the core set that they're demoing doesn't necessarily highlight the changes. The ships in the core set aren't. Some maneuvers have changed and some actions have changed, but it doesn't really highlight the full spectrum of changes. So not overly sad that I missed out on that. And a lot of stuff's been previewed, so I can probably, if I really want to, proxy some stuff and maybe try and get an idea of what's going on with that.
Yeah, neither me or James are particularly familiar with X-Wing,
No.
so yeah.
Yeah.
It's another game that we'll play once they're sick of me hurting them at 40k. Matt can beat me up at X-Wing, and you guys can all enjoy.
I do have some plans for some X-Wing guys to come on.
Yeah,
we do have some of the. I mean, our club is Hull's Angels. I'm not going amiss to say that's a fairly well-known name in the X-Wing community. We used to run one of the biggest charity events for it. We love going to all the national events, and the X-Wing community is great. So anyway, moving on from that. Third game, that was big. God Tier is what I've just backed on Kickstarter. Love the models for it. Really reasonably priced. Love the idea of the game. And it was nice to have a chat with one of the developers about the mechanics, talking through the different mechanics of the game. Because I backed it. I really like the models, but I've not really had the time to sit and watch all the videos. It's finished. The Kickstarter's finished now. They're still doing late pledges, but it's one of the things that.
Did you get to play it while you were there?
No.
It's one of them where I've looked at it and seen the models and think they're fantastic. But aside from watching GMG do some Let's Plays on it, I've not really seen any of the gameplay. It's just the models fantastic.
Not yet. We mainly had a look. They had a really nice 3D board. Look at the models, look at the cards, because it's still really in development. And one thing we've been getting on the Kickstarter is every 2 weeks or every week, I'm probably getting the timescale wrong, they're doing an update. So they're bringing out new scenarios, they're saying why they're changing stuff, they're still waiting for feedback. You can tell it's a game very much in development, but that they're listening.
Yeah.
And that's
big.
And it's awesome. I really like that. And coming from the Guild Ball guys and the Dark Souls guys, and the models are great, I think the rules are going to be good. And if not, I've spent £79. Chances are, just because I like all the war bands, by the time it comes out, I'm going to have backed that to 200.
Yeah.
Just for the extra gangs and the mat and the dice and stuff, it's just gorgeous.
Plus, for a Kickstarter, that's not a ridiculous amount of money.
It's nothing. 210 all in. It's incredible. And I think I got 8 teams. The teams are effectively usually one big guy and then several smaller guys, but the models are nice. They're gorgeous.
I mean, you look at the price it takes to get into any sort of tabletop game and a board game. You're looking at about that, regardless, if not more. I mean, a set of Dark Imperium's what, 95 quid?
Yep.
So
if we're talking about a serious competitive 40k army, I mean, quadruple that, 5 times, 6 times that. By the time you get into actually running the powerful units and running it well, you're talking.
My London GT list was what, if I didn't borrow models off you and used the ones I'd actually bought and haven't built yet, we're talking 100 quid, 160 quid on guard. This is at discounted price. 160 quid on guard, 130 quid, 150 quid a custode, something like that.
To put into perspective the price of all this. London GTI around 12 Hive Guard, which I believe is £172 just on Hive Guard. Yeah. That was a quarter of my money.
So 79 quid for buy-in is incredible.
Yeah, God Tier's 80 quid for the buy-in on God Tier. It's effectively
you have the different heroes. There's 3 or 4 different types of there's 3 or 4. I think there's 3 or 4 different types of hero class, and you can combine any of them into your faction for the game, and it's just really good. So I think they were the main ones we looked at. I did pick up a lot of other stuff while I was around, so I think maybe it's probably best if I just show the picture of my haul from the day, and then we kind of go through that.
You come back empty-handed.
I did not come back empty-handed. No, that is indeed true. So there we go. So. Starting in the top left, is it? Dungeon World? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's top.
Yeah, top left. So Dungeon World's a role-playing book I've wanted to pick up for a while. A lot of people on YouTube use that system, and I just wanted to read. I love reading new systems. Even if we're not playing them, I love reading new systems. It really helps me get an idea on rules development and why people do stuff the way they do. So, I mean, that's not gaming, so let's get out there. A little orc dice tray at the top. Gonna be breaking my ox out soon, possibly for next Saturday. So we'll probably do that at the say what's coming up. We've got a tournament coming up this Saturday, so we'll discuss that briefly in a bit. A Vallejo paint rack. I got some paint racks recently. They're kind of like single story stacker ones, but I'm not really happy with them. Really like these progressed steps for picking out my colours a lot better. Gloomhaven sticker kit on the left. I am lucky enough to earn a copy of Gloomhaven. Full price of it.
Not easy to get hold of.
Not easy to get hold of. Really good resale value, but I don't want to break into it, mainly because I've got chat comments there. Yeah, mainly Gloomhaven is when you look at it, if you're not happy with stuff being disorganised or anything, it's a nightmare. Hi James, thank you for that. It's
I like cameras.
You guys are fun.
Sorry, we're professional people.
Yeah, Gloomhaven. I think it's got something like 1,100 cards in it, different cards, and as you progress through it, you rip stuff off and put stickers in stuff. That's one way of dealing with that. Yeah, so you're meant to rip cards up and put stickers over things. So the idea between that set is for £10, it lets you use that and not ruin your 140 quid board game. So let's quickly brief through everything else. Rumble Slam, great fantasy wrestling game. We've had a lot of fun with that. We ran a charity event for it last year.
Love Rumble Slam.
And that is basically a back alley brawl, which adds all those time you watched wrestling as a kid and they started brawling out the back. Is basically that. It adds like car engines and motorbike, like dustbin, stuff to like throw around and things like that. And instead of throwing people out of the ring, you'd knock them out and then coup de grace them. So that's awesome. I can't.
If you ever play like the older versions of the wrestling games on like PlayStation 1 and stuff, where you could run people over with a forklift or throw them in a dumpster or whatever, that seems to be sort of what they're getting at with that.
Yeah, it's
that's
good.
The gist,
and I think once I got some more painted up, in fact, maybe I'll speak to Gary about that. We can maybe do some Rumble Slam on stream, because that won't be hard to set up at all, really.
No, we can
get two cameras for that easily. That's not going to take an issue. Bottom is Wild West Exodus. Wild West Exodus had came out a number of years ago. I backed it originally on Kickstarter when it was Romeo from Battlefilm and 40k Radio, who they brought it out originally, but it's since been picked up by Warcradle, who are Wayland Games' studio. Now they had a massive presence. They had a big stall. They had multiple demo tables. I didn't have time to get a demo, but some of my friends and some of the guys from the club did. They said it plays really nice. I know Johnny, one of the guys at the club, was a playtester for this edition. He was full of praise for it. Mainly wanted to check it out because I've got some Dystopian Wars factions and wanted to basically see what they had coming for that. But this caught my eye. The model's gorgeous. The fluff's kind of cool. And this is a starter set. It was £35. And I had the rulebook in. Like I said, I like reading rulebooks and stuff, just for picking things out. The models are great. It's just great. Like, I thought, I'm going to get this. Their stuff looked amazing. Totally getting the horsey mister. That's Shane. They basically had a robotic or cyborg horseman who basically looks like Bravestar, someone from Bravestar. It's just great. Like there's so much influence. They've got like an outlaw character that looks like Deadpool. I know they've done the Firefly crew. I had the original from the Kickstarter, but they've redone that. It's just amazing. I can't wait for that. So, following on from that, I haven't put pictures up to put up, but these 4 blister packs at the top are basically the TT Combat, and they are the Debris. They do like a Debris set, so like the lounge, bedroom, and bathroom Debris sets. They're like what do you call it? Like bathtubs, sinks, couches. just
random.
Like, yeah, just and the idea for them is hopefully that we're going to use them on a Fallout board. Or that's my plan for them. I'm going to gradually add them and bring them in as debris in all the buildings on the board. So talking about the board, I'm just trying to set something up in the background here. If I can
It's just going to bring us back so I can point at things arbitrarily again.
That's the plan. Hold on. What I'm trying to do is find a little picture of.
Look shocked in the corner.
You'll have to bear with us slightly, folks. This is our first full run through of the live stream.
Yeah, this is me not prepping what we were going to talk about, but will be done soon in a number of clicks time.
I'm thoroughly enjoying our the ever helpful MMX Facebook group chat, where Shane, being constructive, has just commented, "This is like shepherding cats," which I don't know what you try and do. What are you achieving? Oh, we are back.
There we go.
Hi, me.
Hi, guys. So, when you're not being unhelpful, firstly, that was my haul, but I did buy something else towards the end of the event.
I think
worth mentioning,
between us, we spent a little bit of cash here.
TT Combat had a really big stand. I'm a big fan of TT Combat. Their products are really reasonably priced. They're nice quality. They look great. They make Rumble Slam that I bought before, and they sponsored us last year with our charity tournament for Rumble Slam. They sent us some stuff that was pre-release, which is really, really cool to get pre-release stuff and exclusive stuff to give out as prizes.
They also sponsored our GT last year.
Yep. So
and me personally, I own a full 6x4 table of 40k scenery from TT Combat that I picked up from them. I love their stuff. Some really high quality laser cut MDF stuff.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. So my last purchase was this, and that is basically a full board for Fallout. Fallout plays on a 3x3 board. That's a 4x4, and I think that looks awesome. Needs a bit of scatter terrain, a bit more scatter terrain on. That's why I've bought those blister packs of stuff. I'm going to try and fill out all those buildings, get it painted up, and that will be awesome. It'll work for Fallout, it'll work for Walking Dead. It could even work for 40k, because not every world in 40k is high gothic. It's unlikely.
No, not at all.
But
you get all crazy stuff.
But I mean, I can't wait for that. And that was £100 as a show special, and it's shipped to me £100 for that board. I cannot argue with that. It's great.
Looks amazing.
It's a great price.
But that wasn't the only board they had, was it, James?
No. We should circle back to the whole GT at this point, because myself and Matt run the Hull Grand Tournament, which had its first year last year, which was very successful. We sold plenty of tickets, had a very good turnout, a lot of fun. We're running again this year. Tickets went on sale yesterday, and we're, I believe, 3 tickets off sold out now.
How many is that sold? How many tickets do we sell?
It'd be 33 out of the 36 sold in
so nearly 36
like 36 hours. So we're very pleased with that return. And the scenery was very good last year. But on the back of London, we thought we'd best up our game. So when Matt sent me some pictures from the expo, we thought we'd just invest a little bit of that ticket money and buy some shiny new toys that hopefully Matt has a picture of.
Yeah, I do. Who won last year's GT, Shane? Well, this knobhead up here. There's been a lot of chat on competitive 40k sites since last week. I've seen where people are people talk about people running events and winning them, and I want to step in here because it's something that actually it made me laugh, because James ran our GT last year and ran all of his own back. Like, I'm part of the club. I'm part of the people who run the club. James isn't. He ran the GT out of his own goodwill. The draw.
I genuinely don't know what I'm about to say here. He might be bad.
No. The draw was random, and I've seen stuff in this week saying it's dodgy if people run an event and win it. Now, if the draw's random, the tables are randomised, and his opponents are randomised. It's a Swiss draw. Anyway, I don't know what can happen. All I know is James won the GT, and the prize support he gave most of it away, including a gaming mat and a copy of Necromunda.
Yeah, at the end of the day, James has still got to go 5-0 in that tournament. And there was a lot of good players there. You know,
you can't like rig it and turn up and be like, oh, it looks like you lost because I'm the TO and you're a minute late. No, you beat 5 opponents late. So James won the GT last year. Dick.
It's one of those things where TOs running events is a bit of a contentious issue for people, but I play ICC events. I run ICC events. So we use the Best Coast Pairings app, and essentially it does it for you. I run a rules pack beforehand, which is just the IC rules pack. I don't make anything else. We have a rules team, we have rules judges. I'll never make call my own games. If I'm TOing an event, we have a rules team, and the other judges will always make the calls on my game. I'm not allowed to influence anything to do with my own game. And that extends to if we get a situation like in the Imps tournament where my game could have influenced table 1, I wouldn't make a call on table 1 either, because obviously it can affect that. So you'd have judges make all relevant calls, and you'd always have separate people. We've always had at least 3 judges at an event. So in the event that someone disagrees, there's at least, if one judge can't decide, there's at least someone else to back up who isn't myself. And yeah, there was, to be fair, at the whole GT, there was no one made any issue or had any argument anyway. And as you say, I won a very nice set of prize pool. We were very fortunate in our sponsorship was fantastic. Again, TT Combat sponsored us. Deep Cut Studio sponsored us. Mm-hmm. Gave us a very nice gaming mat, the Mouse Mat style one. Very, very, very nice. They gave us one of those. We had Spellcrow, who deserves special mention because every single time I've contacted Spellcrow, every single event I run, whether it's 10-man or a full GT, Spellcrow, knock it out of the park. I get free stuff for every single player. I get big prizes for the winners.
They've been really good. Is it Tatiana, the contact there?
Yeah, Tatiana is
really
I believe the lady who looks after marketing for them.
Yeah.
We were a little bit unfortunate that London GT was slightly unorganised, so we weren't sure where we were. But we were hoping to meet her at that event. We planned to meet up and say hi, but unfortunately didn't manage it. So we'll try it at another event, I guess.
Yeah. Did the local stores sponsor us for the GT as well?
Yep. We had a Stronghold Games gave us sponsorship, which was very kind of them. They gave us extra discount on all the prizes that were purchased with the ticket money, because I think we spent about £400 or £500 on prizes from the ticket money. Because the GTs that we run, we don't take a profit off either. Everything that goes into the event gets plugged back in. Whether it be the tables we're about to show you in a minute, which I bought 2 full tables of scenery for this event, just to keep the standard high. We don't want to be in a position.
Oh, hang on then, because I had a date for the end of September for cutting some foam, so let's cross that out and pinning that.
No, we all of our scenery will be fully painted. We're very fortunate in that the club that we play at has had committee members in the past and still does who are willing to build and paint scenery for everything. We've got some beautiful boards already. We get to play on lovely boards every single week, and we're permanently building that up. The hope is to get bigger and bigger every year, but we're going to do it nice and slow, nice and gradual. Last year we played with 28 at the GT. This year we're going to play at 36. It's just a little top up. Assuming we sell 3 more tickets in the next 4 months.
Or go bigger.
Yeah. If there's also talk with our club that there may be a little bit more space, we might try and sneak a few more in.
Yep.
Matt is on the committee and is giving me some looks here.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can, if we sell out, we can maybe squeeze a few more tickets in. Or
one thing that we won't do, when we say squeeze a few more tickets in, the building that we're in has plenty of space.
Yeah, we're not going to be moving the tables.
We won't jam people next to each other or anything. Yeah. All we're doing by saying we're going to make more space is say we're literally going to get more tables. We've got rooms to put stuff in. Yeah. If we get more tables, more scenery, more people sign up. If more people want to come, we'll see if we can accommodate you. We'd love to do 50 people, 60 people, whatever.
We're not going to squeeze them that far apart and make a fire ring.
Yeah.
We'll roll out the mats on the floor.
Yeah.
You play
outside in October.
Yep.
Anyway.
But yeah, if we can get you in comfortably so that everyone's having a good time with good scenery, we'll try and make more space and try and get more people in as well. But I think...
Great review from Shane there.
Yeah, Shane with his top tournament review for the whole GT. Some of us players are big fat lads and we can fit 2 players abreast.
Yeah. There we go. It's the club layout we use for the GT is the same as we use 2 nights a week in the club. We are fortunate that we've got more space than we use normally. So
there's at least a meter between every table.
Yeah.
No more than 2 tables next to each other, so you can get around the ends.
Yep.
every table will have a decent bit of line sight blocking, some area scenery. You know, we'll have the works out there. It's a nice looking tournament. Yep. We don't mess about.
So speaking of nice looking,
yes, speaking of nice looking, let's go to some pictures of the new stuff we just put.
Let me work something out. So if I pull.
We're going to have a little painting session. This might be a Team MMX and associated Hells Angels members who want to come in and play.
Yeah, I think that's a good.
We're going to do a little bit of we'll do some building days over the next month or two with some nice new stuff. That's one of the boards we bought.
Oh, that's great.
That's industrial Gothic.
This is City, I believe.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's the same thing. So it was £100. That's.
It's insane, isn't it?
Looking at it, it's nuts, isn't it? I mean, you've got, just looking at that, I'm going to point at the screen just because it helps me, where you've got 2 or 3 decent line side blocking pieces, you've got a bunch of big ruins, you've got some scatter scenery on there. We'll top that up with a few other bits and bobs. There's a bit more area scenery on there as well.
Yeah, I think all the buildings can be moved around, so that circle one could go in the middle. Or
yeah, to make that 6x4, throw a couple of little bits more on there, and that's the sort of thing you can expect to see. And that will be fully painted, all done. And I mean, we've just had another comment in the chat. Ridiculous value for money. I agree. Yeah. I think
it was great. I think
Matt sent me a couple of pictures from the expo on Saturday. You were down there.
Yep. Sunday.
And I think.
Saturday. No, it was Saturday. You guys.
What Saturday? We were tournamenting Sunday. Yeah. You were expo Saturday.
Sleeping.
I think it took me all of about 3 minutes to reply. Just going, I'll buy this one and this one.
The chat went mental for it, didn't they? They were all after
it. Like, I bought that Wasteland one, and I was looking at these thinking, you know, James would come back and said, I'm going to have that one and that one. I'm like, I don't need a table, but for these prices, they're great. Like I've got the Mantic sci-fi terrain. I've got some hills. Like we've got access to the club and all the terrain there. We're really fortunate with that, and it's just crazy. But that was one of the boards you got, and the other one was need that. The other one was this one. So let's just zoom
this
one in.
I really like the look of this board.
See, I've been eyeing this up with a few Necron players who've had come back out the woodwork, and Shane starting a Necron army. Yeah. I've been looking at some of this terrain because it's really big, it's line of sight blocking, it's really reasonably priced, and I thought with an airbrush you can spray that up good and have a really nice looking board.
It's really functional, isn't it? Like just looking at it.
Some green or red or purple, classic MMX colour. We do love a good purple.
Yep.
Get a nice blur effect on those glyphs.
Oh, do you know what I'd like?
You could do that really nicely, really quickly.
I think some not luminous, but you know, like really like nice coloured aquarium-y plants.
Yeah.
It's like alien-y plants. Like they'd look, and if you used a dark board with them, they'd
yeah, some proper alien but bright.
Even
so
crystals.
Crystals maybe just we'll find something that we'll put on a 6x4. That's 4x4. It's very nice, very line sight blocking, nice and full board. 6x4, spread out a little bit. Get a few area bits on there. Just there's a few bits of cover for people standing as well, so you're not just playing line sight blocking.
Yep.
And that's a serious tournament board with a few nice big bits in the middle, a few other line sight blocking, a few bits of area, a lot of toys.
I did call you names for using those plants on your base. Is shame. Your bases are on a table, and that I think that board like I said, I've been eyeing up this terrain, and it is so nice. Like,
the best thing about it is just the character that they managed to get on their boards is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like it creates its own narrative, doesn't it?
They had these two boards. They had the Wasteland board. On the right of that picture, you can just see what was effectively usable for Star Wars Legion. It's like a Tantuit.
Yeah, desert board or something they called it.
Yeah, it was amazing. And then they had a canal one for I think they now own Carnivale or I don't think it's Carnivale. I think it's Carnivale.
Carnival.
And it was Venice, and it was just like like I don't even know that game, and I was like, how can I play on this board? Like there's bridges, there's like little bits behind houses. I was like, this is amazing. Like
it shows I've got a problem. The first thing I went to there was how cool would it be Gene Stealers coming out of the canals in Venice.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
It'd be great for like Frostgrave, like a Frostgrave in a Renaissance city.
Could have quad heavy bolters on boats just floating along the channel.
what this is showing.
So yeah, so 2 great new roles to add to our GT. The GT this year is called Burn in Hull. Burn in Hull.
No, it's not.
Oh no, it's not. That was last year's. Oh, well, I mistakes.
It wasn't.
It was Hull
The last RTT.
Right. Let's just take Matt away from this for a moment. The Hull GT last year was called the Seven Circles of Hull. The big RTT we ran earlier this year, which I believe was a 32-man event, was called Burn in Hull.
Yes.
And this event, the big GT this year, is called One Hell of a GT.
One Hell of a GT.
You're welcome.
Essentially, we're going to keep running events till we run out of puns on the word Hull, at which
Then
point
we're
you're
just
going
going
to
to
add
add 2.
yourself.
We can add 2 at the end then. Just add names. Or the year, Burn in Hull 2019.
Yeah.
Well, we have since learned that it's actually 9 circles of Hull, not 7. So we have to run the 8 and then the 9 circles of Hull at some point, just to get
Just
right.
to catch up, yeah. And then 10 circles of Hull and just add a whole spin on it.
Yeah, we just keep adding circles.
And if it is Hull, I mean, we can probably find a circle somewhere that'll be appropriate.
Yeah.
It's a lovely city you should visit. I don't live there.
But you come here all the time. You love it so much.
I do.
Say your culture.
So that is the Expo review. That's our GT talked about.
Yep.
Still got a few more things before we sign off. But once again, Twitter over here, Facebook, Instagram. Follow us on Twitch. Like I say, follow us on Twitch to add a second night to the prize pool. Follow us on Twitter and retweet that tweet to get a night. Or get 2 nights. Or maybe we'll put some more stuff in. I don't know. I do know.
There might be a few more bits and bobs flying around. I hear some of us have a lot of tabletop combat scenery flying around.
Yeah, well,
maybe if tabletop combat would like to be nice, we might find some more of that in there.
Yeah, who knows? I think going forward, we can try and find some stuff.
We'll certainly find some more stuff to put in put in some prizes for you.
The more viewers we get, the more followers we get. Eventually, once we've hit that Twitch goal, the more subscribers we get, the better audio we can get, the better webcams we can get, the more prizes we can give away, more sponsorship we can get, the more reviews we can do.
So I think the last thing for us is to talk about what we're going to do next and maybe have a little bit of chat about it before we sign off.
Yeah. So this week's preview, GW preview, was Knights. Knights coming out on Saturday. We're getting previews every day. Most of it's been leaked. So it's the Armigers that are going on pre-order this week. Helverins and all the Knight Codex stuff are already out. I have a Knight army unbuilt. You're getting really tempted by Knights. I
have been stood for a long time basically pretending the Imperium doesn't exist. I play all the bad guy. And there's a Knight Codex coming out, and I really want to crack it open, put Genestealers driving Knights, because I have a Genestealer problem, and do Genestealer Cult Questoris Knights, not least because I think there's some real power in that Codex. I don't necessarily think it's going to win tournaments by itself, but I think with the right allies, Knights can cause some serious problems. I'll be really surprised if you don't start seeing at least a small Knight detachment in some of the top tournament lists.
Yeah, I think those Helverins are.
Yeah, if we're gonna break down just on pure points efficiency, I don't think Predators are valid anymore. I think Knight Helverins will completely replace the triple Predator thing that you're seeing in some lists.
Yeah,
I don't know why you take them.
Yep.
They bring in auto cannons to the forefront, and that's never a bad thing. So,
our love of autocannon shines through. James is coming to task.
Well, I mean, it's not an autocannon, is it? It's a significantly better, superior Knight weapon that just happens to have a similar name. But
it says autocannon in it, James.
Well, the point efficient autocannon, unlike the rest of them. But yeah, what we're going to do, I believe Friday, was it 8 o'clock we said?
Friday, 8 o'clock, I believe we're planned in.
Friday, 8 p.m. UK time. We will have a look at the Knight Codex. Matt's going to cover it from the side of a Knight player, looking at what the Knight Codex can do, looking at interesting stuff they can get out with, maybe some interesting army lists they can come up with. I know when we were chatting earlier, I had some horrible ideas about command point farming where you have like 400 points of allies, the rest is knights, and you just farm the hell out of the command points and make the knights really nasty. And I'm going to play the other side. I'm going to have a look at what you can do to beat knights, what you can take.
I dare you to not say Hive Guard.
I genuinely think they're terrible against knights, actually. I mean, I did some maths on this when the Knights Leaks first came out, and I believe if my numbers are right, which I might be slightly off on, an average las cannon in the hands of a Marine does, I think, 1 damage.
Yep.
And the Blood Angel's Captain Smashing Combat does 26. So I'm pretty sure the answer to knights isn't hiding behind walls and shooting at them. They're not as good in combat. They struggle when they're locked in combat, and locking them in combat is a thing we will talk about, because it's definitely... I just love hostage and shit. I'm just going to hostage some knights as well. I don't care if they're big. We're going to round them up as well.
I will also be there on Friday. As an auto-cannon enthusiast, I believe. I'll line them up, all in view, all my auto-cannons that I've got, and we'll watch the stream together.
We're just going to run through how to play with knights, what you can get out of the new Knight Codex, and for those of you looking at the new knights and going, oh my god, they've got damage 10 weapons, they've got volcano cannons, they've got 3d6 flamers, what the hell do I do against this? We'll have a look at how you can stop them, what you can do to mess with them, how you can beat them, and a few of the more trolley things in 40k, because it's always funny to not necessarily win the game, but just wind your opponent up by doing something daft.
Yeah, and we can maybe do a little brief intro to Soft Lads, which is an event we're playing on Saturday, but not to spoil it now, but maybe discuss Soft Lads on Friday night, and then we can do a recap of Soft Lads possibly Monday, maybe Sunday night, Monday, something like that. We'll see what does it. I am hopefully, possibly, see how it goes, try and get an unboxing video. I want to do an unboxing video of that Rumble Slam box and an unboxing video of that Wild West Exodus box. Maybe this week, maybe if I get a chance. We'll see how it goes.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much for joining us, everyone.
Yeah, it's been a blast.
More in the future.
Onwards and upwards.
All the things over there. Sorry, I'm sideways on this thing. It's really weird. The Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter and Instagram. It's all over where Matt's pointing, because I don't know my left from my right.
Yeah, it's off-putting, isn't it? I gotta look what's behind me and go, oh yes, that's that. So at Team MMX on Twitter, at MMX Stream on Facebook. That brings up Team MMX, and Team_MMX on Instagram. Instagram is run by Mark. I run the Twitter, and we all kind of do the Twitter and the Facebook. So the more content we put out, the more there's going to be up there. This is going to go on YouTube as well. We'll upload it to there, and we'll see what goes on from here.
Win some nights.
Woo-woo. And maybe some other stuff. We'll see. Let's get those tweets re-rolling. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.